Today we're going to be looking at quarterback farming and if it is the right decision for a young quarterback to sit behind a vet. So in the wake of the Atlanta Falcons drafting Michael Penix Jr. at number 8 to sit behind Kirk Cousins, I feel like this was the perfect time to make this video. So we all know about the success stories about the quarterback farming, especially in Green Bay over the last 20 years, right? With Brett Favre into Aaron Rodgers into Jordan Love. That is amazing, freaking boom, boom, boom there, right? Absolutely. But is that a common thing in the NFL? Or have multiple others, been able to succeed in quarterback farming? And today we're going to just take a look back and really see on if this is really a good thing or a bad thing. So in week 1 of the 24-25 season, right, this upcoming season, Kirk Cousins will be 36 years old and Michael Penix Jr. will be 24 years old, okay? Now, let's say he sits for 1 year. So now, boom, boom, 2 years from now, well, a year, however you want to look at it, right? The 25-26 season, okay? Kurt will be 37 and Michael will be 25, right? Okay, so, he's already starting to get up there in years. You know what I'm saying? So let's just say that he just sits this one season and, Kirk plays okay, but he's really mediocre. He doesn't pop like we all think that he can in this offense. So boom, now they have Michael Penix starting, and I just want to say, only sitting 1 year has a few hits, man. Since the year 2000, it's about 6 hits there, man. Maybe 5, and one of them's a little biased, maybe a little bit, right? But you got you got freaking Brady, you know what I'm saying? You got Vic, you got Mahomes, you got Breeze, you got Cat, you know what I'm saying? You got some other guys there too that I can't think of off the top of my head right now. But you have Carson Palmer. You got multiple guys who sat their first season and took over that next year and balled out and completely dominated with the two number 1 guys in Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes there, right? Now, we have also had guys sit a few more years, that were some hits, but we've also had guys only sit that 1 year and they are nowhere near a hit. Like McCown, Quinn, you got Lossman, you got Trevor Siemian, and you got Tim Tebow there, right? So these are all some misses that guys who sat that first year and we thought were going to come and excel, for the rest of their career after sitting their first rookie year, right? And, so we can see that there's an amazing side here and a bad side off of just 1 year. And we're going to get back to this after we talk about year 2 play. You got 5 guys that really hit bona fide hits who sat, to their 3rd year and beyond since the year 2000. And, you got Tony Romo, you got Phillip Rivers, Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy Garoppolo, and the guy who I mentioned earlier and who this video is centered around, Kirk Cousins, right? And all of these guys ended up panning out after sitting until their 3rd. So they sat their first 2 seasons or more, and they ended up balling out. So let's go all the way back to Michael Penix, okay? So let's say Penix sits 2 years, and now he's walking into his rookie year, right? His first full year under center, I should say, right? He would be walking into that at what, 26, 27, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeesh. And then you gave Kirk Cousins 100 M's. Now, I understand more so the Aaron Rodgers quarterback farming deal. When A-Rod was getting old, it looked like he was slowing down. Obviously, he goes and wins a MVP there, so obviously he was not slowing down. But what I'm saying is that it looked like he could potentially be slowing down and that the team around him just couldn't be a championship level. So then you go and you grab a quarterback towards the back end of the first round. Makes sense there, you know. But I just can't really like explain you taking a top 10 pick quarterback after giving a man 100 M's. That is not the way to do it at all. Maybe if Kirk isn't, only has 2 years left, cool, makes sense. You're trying to move on anyway, yada, yada, yada. That makes sense. But it's just a little hard for me to really fathom this. No, I'm not taking anything away from Michael Penix. He might end up being a dog. He might literally end up being the GOAT. We have no clue here, right? Shoot, we didn't think Mahomes was going to be this special. Some people did predict him being nice out of Tech, but, not many people did. I think that this dude Penix can have a good career. It is just that, it is hard. I don't care what anyone says. It's hard sitting for a year, 2 years, whatever the case. Everyone's like, oh, you're around NFL doctors, NFL trainers. You're around the coaches, the other players, blah, blah, blah. You're getting NFL workouts. This is that and the third. Right, I get all of that. But, dude, being under center and having Bradley Chubb sprint at you is different. Having Nick Bosa sprint at you is different. I'm just saying, like, it's a little different than having a guy in, a practice uniform who's trying to make a living for his family, on a practice squad, rather than the dominant force of Myles Garrett. Penix just, he was literally just a few plays going right for him from being a national championship quarterback, right? His freaking team had studs going all over the first round and second round, right? Their air raid was crazy there in Washington. But, seriously, he can have a good career. It's just that by the time he gets, unless he only sits 1 year, and then that Kirk Cousins contract really doesn't make too much sense there. But let's just say he only sits 1 year, then, your guys aren't too old around him and they haven't really established themselves yet. But once you're an established receiver, and especially if you are establishing yourself with a particular quarterback, more than likely that play style of quarterback is going to be what your game is predicated to. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that it has to be that way at all, right? But I'm just saying that Devontae Adams hasn't really looked like the absolute hands down best in the league, because his play style is being out there in that back shoulder and being on the outside of those numbers. And, the quarterbacks that he has had since leaving A-Rod just haven't really had strong suits in doing that. So, sometimes it really does, who you're molding your game with sometimes does end up becoming your game, if that makes sense. So, like, what I'm saying is, you don't want, Drake London, you don't want Kyle Pitts to really form themselves around Kirk Cousins. You just don't want that, simply because, you're expecting Penix to take over at some point, and they don't have similar play styles at all, right? Kirk's more of a good game manager. Kirk's more of like a 1% of game managers. And, Penix is he's more of a young guy, put it like that. He has a few flaws in his game. But overall, I think that this can be a cool experiment. I'm praying for a Green Bay story here, but I just don't know if this is a good thing. To me, experience is the best teacher, right? So get out there and play, man. Get out there and make your mistakes and play. And I hope, if Atlanta is a good team, I hope that last game of the season, even if they're not a good team, I hope, that last game of the season, they let Penix go out there just so they can see him in real game against other NFL players, even if it is the other team's backups, right? Just so we can see him in game, right? I don't know, man. I really feel like this wasn't the smartest pick in the world whenever you had multiple other guys there. But hey, it is what it is. The draft is over. And you guys are going to have to live with this pick like we did with Trey Lance, But hopefully he ends up being you guys' A-Rod or you guys' Jordan Love or something like that, and not our Trey Lance. Anyway, man, with all that being said, you already know, man, we're going to hop up out of here, man. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Love.